Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want. This is Love Your Work Life, episode 75. Before I jump right in, one last reminder, because this will be the last episode where I can invite you to join Job Search Field Guide and get 4 free coaching calls with me. That's you and me, one-on-one, on the phone, on Google Meet, however you'd like, so that you can get the personalized feedback coaching, sounding board, strategist kinds of things that will elevate your job search. I'm super excited to offer that, and I really hope that you take advantage of it. And the interview-only course drops on October 7th, so stay tuned for that. That's for those of you who are getting lots of invites to interviews, but not getting any offers. That course is a breakout from Job Search Field Guide so that you can zero in, go laser focused in on creating stellar interview skills. Okay. Have you ever been in an airport, or I think of them as airports because that's where I've encountered these things, but there are those people movers, right? Where you need to travel a long distance, and so instead of walking it, you get on the people mover and you stand to the left or right so other people can pass you. You get to the end of it, and a lot of times there's this little recording, mind your step. The mover is ending, right? While you might be enjoying the ride, you do have to mind your step, because you're going to get off that thing and there's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. If you're like me, getting those steps coordinated also feels a little disruptive too. And sometimes your career can be that way. You're just on autopilot. You're just along for the ride. You're moving through, and it seems so effortless. But the danger is that you get on autopilot thinking, that you're just moving through without paying attention to what might be ahead and planning for it, watching, learning, being prepared for that adjustment, minding your step. Even when you know that people mover's ending, you've got to plan for it. It doesn't go on forever. Just like a career has steps and disruptions and things happening all the time. That's why I want you to be always minding your step. It doesn't mean you have to be afraid that your career is ending or the company's going to be doing layoffs. This isn't a fear-motivated minding your step. This is an awareness. This is seeing possibilities. This is about preparation, paying attention to yourself, and should opportunities arise or disruptions happen, that you are ready, my friend. I want you to always be ready for opportunity, ready to respond to things that might be happening, to be proactive as much as possible instead of reactive. You want to be open to possibility, and you want to be prepared to navigate anything that comes along. I really, truly hope that when someone coaches with me, that they've learned the skills and strategies that they need to navigate anything that happens, that they never have to hire me again. I know that might sound weird, but of course, people do come back sometimes, and I love that. But mostly, I want people to walk away with the sense that they never, ever have to worry about anything that happens in their career, that they have what they need to mind their step every step of the way, whether that's a change that's thrust upon you or a change that you decide you want for yourself, that you're ready for that next stage, that you want to give yourself a promotion, that instead of allowing a disruption to throw you off your game, that it's intriguing and that it opens up your eyes to possibilities. That's what minding your step is all about. So if you're going to always be minding your step, if you're not going to get too comfortable, or you're not going to ride along in the people mover looking around at everything else that's going on around you and not paying attention to opportunities ahead or to a disruption ahead, that awareness that's so important. What does that look like from a practical perspective? Number one, and I can't stress this enough, is keeping track of your accomplishments. One of the biggest obstacles clients face, candidates face, is that their jobs just feel a little bit like autopilot, and they haven't been keeping track of the results they've been creating day to day, and therefore when it comes time to talk about them, there's a blank space. Like it's hard to find them again. So I want you to start tracking your accomplishments. Keep a notebook specifically for that purpose and do it on a regular basis. Ideally, it'd be awesome if every Friday you took a little bit of time to reflect back on all the results and contributions and accomplishments you made throughout the week. That would be awesome. Because there's going to be big things and little things all mixed in there. You can write out a summary of how you handled a challenging situation or a person that didn't agree with a strategy that you were recommending and what it was like to engage in that conversation and change the tone, change the result. These are all things to keep track of. Look back monthly at those big highlights, those big accomplishments. And even every quarter or every year, track these things. Because let me tell you, when you need them, you will have an awesome document to reference. It'll be this menu of accomplishments that you can go to so that when you need it, it's there. And you don't have to scramble and run into roadblocks in your thinking about what you've done, what was meaningful. And I like suggesting that you handwrite these things out. It's helpful because our brains just process things better that way. But to be perfectly honest, if you like capturing things in some kind of document, or, I could even picture an Excel workbook where you start categorizing accomplishments, maybe the things that use your soft skills, maybe the relational kinds of things, and then other things that have a metric behind them. How cool would that be to have all of that stuff captured so that when you need it, it's there for you, whether that's for a job search or a promotion. What about those self-assessment type job performance reviews? How cool would it be to have all of that figured out and to be able to select the things that you felt were most rewarding and impactful and satisfying in your job? So keep track of your accomplishments on a regular basis. The next way to be always minding your step is to update your resume and LinkedIn profile regularly. This is where those accomplishments can come into play. Maybe you want to update your LinkedIn profile with that accomplishment. Think about it from the perspective of your next role. What are the bullet points? What is the content that you can add to your resume and LinkedIn profile that position you for the next role? What is next role like about what you're doing now? So that it always has a future focus, positioning yourself for the next thing, the elevated role, even the pivot. If you are thinking about a different industry, then what are the things about what you're doing now that would help someone understand the logic of that pivot? Universalize the language a little bit if you have to, if you're really thinking about that kind of a pivot. It will help people see your possibilities instead of only seeing the inside language that's related to the role you have now. And speaking of future focus, always be curious, always be open to possibility. Have those what if questions in your mind in the best possible way, right? Not if the business goes down the tubes and what if I get laid off. That's not the kind of what ifs I want you focused on. If you're doing all these other things, you won't have to worry about those kinds of what ifs because you've created this resource for yourself that you can tap into anytime you want. You are minding your step. You're also giving your brain something to work on, a problem to solve in the best possible way. So be future focused. Look ahead. Don't get distracted or comfortable with that people mover. Leverage that step off to your best possible advantage. And last but not least, be the CEO of your career. Really own it. Really lead it. You know, when you think about setting other people up for success in the role that you're playing now, what would you have to do to set yourself up for success? When you're a CEO, you have a vision. You have a plan. You have a strategy. You have a roadmap. Create that kind of roadmap for yourself. You may not be looking for your next role right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't cast that vision, that you can't put something into play that will help you navigate towards it. Because if you don't know what it is, then there's no way that you can move towards it. If all you're thinking is, I'm going to have my dream job someday, but you haven't clarified it, you haven't defined it for yourself, then there's no way that you're going to get there. It's always going to be out there somewhere. You can put that plan into play anytime you want, right now, or just as something to reflect on occasionally and think about what the possibilities are. Always be in tune with it and looking for opportunities to make it happen. You'll be surprised how many things sort of feel like they just fell into place. Or, wow, what a coincidence that was that this person I reached out to is now at a company that I've always liked to work for. Nothing happens by chance. It's all happening by design, by you thinking about what's possible and sketching out a plan, taking a peek at it once in a while. And when the time is right, leveraging all the skills and value that you have accumulated over the course of your career towards that next thing. So mind your step. Plan for something ending in the best possible way, whether it's by design or by something happening that you didn't exactly plan. That's okay. Because if you're doing these things, then no matter what happens, no matter what ends, you will be prepared. You'll be able to take advantage of it instead of it taking advantage of you. All right. I'll talk to you next time. If you like listening to this podcast, and you are going to love my program, Job Search Field Guide. This is a unique opportunity. I offer group coaching alongside a 5-step process to help you land a job quickly. So I hope you will join me in Job Search Field Guide. This is going to be revolutionary to your career journey and your job search, and you get lifetime access. So find it at elissashuck-careercoach.com, and I will see you there.